Welcome, folks, to episode 116 of The Morgue, an official CorpseFeed podcast. And I am Arturo Padilla, the guy behind the face. And with me always is Mr. Nick Valdez. Howdy, Tex. How are you, man?
Oh man, howdy everybody. Howdy Arturo. It's been a minute since we've last spoken. We took a
I
little
know.
we took a little summer break, and so this week for our coming attractions, instead of like looking to the future, let's do a little bit of catch up, right? Let's do a little bit of like
Yeah,
have you
listen,
seen what have you seen like in the last
I was
during our break?
I was actually able to catch the movie Hustle, which you recommended,
Oh
right?
yes, on
Which
Netflix.
I
Yes.
thoroughly enjoyed from start to finish.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it was one of those feel good movies, man. I was telling you off air, it felt like a less evil Blue Chips. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Blue Chips without the corruption. I remember I was telling you, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the perfect way to explain it. It's been a while since like we've had like a big budget sports movie. Like I've seen some for Disney that they've released some for Disney Plus, but it's like with Adam Sandler and like real athletes from the NBA. It feels like there's
Yeah,
a like a lot of money behind it, right?
yeah.
It's
Like
Sandler, so Sandler's got
also
that
like
Netflix money.
it's not Space Jam. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
let's just put it out there. Like, it's an actual it's an actual drama. Like, drama kind of has
Yeah,
its moments of
it's
comedy and stuff like that.
like a slice of life movie,
You remember you remember that movie with Kevin Bacon? I think was it called The Air Up There, right?
I
Where he
think
was like
so.
a basketball scout, I think as well, and he goes to
Yeah.
Africa and he finds this dude. I forgot what his name was. This really tall dude, right? And then he brings him
Yeah.
over for the NBA. So you know, just kind of
It's
like that.
it's that kind of yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
That's exactly the
The
same
Air
thing
Up There,
here.
man.
It,
Go back to like '95, kids.
yeah, it's been a while, right? It's been a while since we've had something like that.
Yes, agreed.
I also saw I saw last night in Soho finally, the one by Edgar
Yes.
Wright. Loved it. I think if anybody of the buddies at home, go check out Netflix, check out Hustle. But if you're looking for like a good horror movie, honestly, big budget horror too. There's like on
I
HBO
have to
Max.
agree.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Like the story was really cool. It was very slow at first, but it was worth
Yes.
it. It was one of those. It felt very like noirish, right?
Yes.
It had that kind of take to it, but it was like a ghost story. It was a haunting.
Yeah.
The ending, the third act was awesome. So I
Yeah.
definitely
It
recommend
spends
getting to that.
Yeah, it spends like an hour to build itself up. You're getting to know like the main character, and it's Edgar Wright too, so it's got a lot like it's very quick right away though. Like even
Yeah,
though
dude,
it's
imagine what he could have done with Ant-Man, right? I'm still
I
very curious
know.
as to what was that creative difference there, right?
Yeah, because it's like I can imagine he made like it's a slow burn noir, but it's very punchy, like you said, right?
Yes.
Like it spends that first hour like building, but honestly, by the time it started going, I was like, wow,
Yeah, he
we've already
does.
watched for an hour, right? Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
agreed 100%. I think it's also those quick edits. He does a lot of cuts, right?
Yes,
Like, and he uses a
yes,
lot of cool like imagery to like just showcase time, and things go
yes.
by like very quickly. And there's a lot of quick little montages like sprinkled throughout the movie, and it just makes the story go. Especially the very uncomfortable parts of the story, right? Because
Yes.
obviously because of the kind of story it is and all that stuff. There's some like trigger warning kind of shit in there.
Yeah,
So
there's some icky stuff to deal
yeah.
with. Yeah.
But besides that though, it's a very cool story, and kudos to him for pulling that off. For doing something different for himself as well as a director. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he's known for Shaun of the Dead and all that kind of stuff. And it's a breath of fresh air to see something that was executed that well.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like a completely different story for him too.
Yes,
I think
agreed.
I can't remember I don't think he's ever done like a female protagonist either. I'm thinking back to like his stuff, maybe the early stuff, but I
Yeah,
think it's all
I
been
mean,
like
he did a lot. Maybe Scott Pilgrim, right?
but even then like
Even that. you
even
know?
then, Michael Cera was the star of the movie. But like, this is straight up a story about a girl, and then it gets into like some ghosts and paranormal, and it's
Yeah.
very like the less you know about it, the better. It's that kind of thing too. It's
Yeah, it's
very
funny because like the movie trailer, compared to what the actual movie actually like
oh,
unfolded to be was
you're
very
so
different.
you're so right. I remember not
Very
liking the
different.
trailer either. I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
was like,
yeah.
oh, this looks okay, I guess. Looks kind of boring, and then you watch, you're like, oh, okay, all right. Let's do it. Let's do it. It'd be cool to see what else he can do, right? Maybe
Yeah,
give him franchise.
I
F it,
mean,
who cares?
give him Ant-Man again, like just, imagine.
Imagine.
Yeah, but like, you know what though? At the same time, instead of Ant-Man, we did get this.
Yeah.
We got Baby Driver, and
Yeah,
it's
Baby
still,
Driver's pretty good too, man.
yeah, it's you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah. I don't think
How
I don't know.
different was that from this movie, right? Like
No
that's the thing
kidding.
with Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of filmmakers can't really say these days in terms of like their their body of work and how
Yeah.
different it is in comparison to like what they first got famous for to what they've done now,
You're 100% right. Like,
It,
yes,
Neil
dude.
Blomkamp is a good example of like what like of things going the wrong way.
Yeah, of
Edgar
potential
Wright.
squandered.
Now that you mention it, is low key. He has a very solid body of work under his belt. So
Very solid and distinct body of work.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So and he knows how to work with action. He knows how to work with horror. Now we've seen. So hey, listen, DC, Marvel, right? And any of you guys out there,
I mean,
willing to give this guy a bunch of money, maybe give him Hellblazer, right? A Constantine thing,
give
right?
him, give him something
awesome
Vertigo, right? Like something something dark. Like give him Dead Man. Give him give him Dead Man. Give him who's the dude in the green cape? And he's like the space guy. I forget. He's like Spectrum or Spectro
Spectre,
or like,
right? Spectre.
Yes,
Yeah.
Spectre. Yes, give him like that tier of like cosmic horror,
dark,
like
as something maybe Justice League Dark.
Yeah, you know what? Give him Justice League Dark. I think J.J. Abrams is doing the one right now. Remember, he's
that's right. They are doing that, right?
Yeah. But I would love to see Edgar Wright. Yeah, doing like a Constantine, Demon Etrigan,
Yeah,
like
dude. He has
Zatanna.
the chops. He has the chops. Obviously, like I mentioned, Scott Pilgrim, like earlier, right? Like that was a comic booky adaptation. Pretty much, it was
beat for beat. It was legit
pretty much
comic,
a dope
right?
translation, right?
Yeah.
It was great. So we know he has the chops. So good for you, Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Continue doing what you're doing. Don't listen to the studios. Obviously, you are well aware. Like, you know what? Like, it's good for him too. Like, for not coming in with Ant-Man. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're so right too, because it's like now he's become so much more valuable in terms of like now we know he can do all these things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
You're right.
Good for him. He definitely bet on himself, and we were like, oh, you should have just kind of fell in line with the machine and all that stuff, right?
Honestly, because it's worked out for a lot of directors.
It really has. And I think it would have worked out for him, but he seemed to like really appreciate the vision he had for the character and where his story was going to go. So, you know what? You got to respect that, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing with Derrickson too. We were just talking last time about Black Phone. So it's like, he didn't get to do Doctor Strange 2, but he did Black Phone. So it's like, well,
I'll take that. I will take that because I enjoyed Raimi's take in the like in an actual MCU kind of vehicle, right?
So
with real MCU money behind it,
That's very true.
So, good for them then, right? Let's just hope they continue, pushing out this good content then. Just
give us these unique stories.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
mean, because at the same time too, then there's James Wan, who is an example of the opposite, right? You work in the system and then come out and do your own things.
I mean, like, listen,
but then
people like Malignant, right? People liked it. There are people out there that actually enjoyed the movie. And
go listen to the podcast about that stuff. Yes,
there's a big rant about Malignant in there. It was wild that people like, it was wild that a whole Oscar thing had legs at all. Honestly, I was like, are you kidding me? Out of all the movies that could get any love in the horror genre and bring it out to the mainstream, it's gonna be Malignant. Like,
we just talked about last night in Soho. Like, those came out in the same time frame. So it's like, imagine, like, come on.
My goodness.
Like,
you're absolutely right. I'm thinking about that right now. Wow, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
it boggles the mind, honestly.
Yeah, like, why is Malignant the one that's jumping off?
And you know what though? I'm so glad it went to VOD. It was one of those, like, dual, like, synchronous releases.
Yeah, I know. RIP
and VOD.
Yeah, RP. But
I'm glad it was VOD, honestly. I'm glad I didn't have to go to theaters to watch that thing.
I wouldn't have seen it either. Like, I wouldn't have seen it anyway. So it's like, if it wasn't on VOD, I wasn't going to see it.
They're like, oh my God, Giallo. I'm like, you guys really seen
we had
a Giallo movie?
Please go listen to that episode. Arturo went on he went on a tear. And if you want to know about all the Giallo stuff, all those arguments, like, Arturo put that to bed by himself. Like, he was just like, no, he put that to bed. You can consider that conversation over. But like, it's good for streaming too. There's been a lot of stuff to watch lately too. Beavis and Butthead, we talked about last time. You just saw it finally.
Dude, I finally had a chance to check it out, and honestly, man, it was meant for me. I was a fan of Beavis and Butthead. I still am a fan of Beavis, but I'm one of the rare intellectual people out there who
absolutely,
who didn't get totally dumber by watching it. My wife says different, but I'll go down with Beavis and Butthead all day, every day. God damn it!
I think our laughs kind of modeled after that over the years. I've noticed when I've thought about it, I've caught myself going,
man, dude. It's and speaking of the laugh, that's one of the funniest things ever. Always about the show was the timing of Mike Judge's use of. Specifically of Butthead's laugh, because he had the deeper laugh. Yes. So it was always when Beavis did something absolutely ridiculous, and then just you had that very deep and I'm like, it's perfect. Honestly, it's perfect. Like, if you're not a fan, don't watch it. You're not gonna get it.
It's just for fans.
Yeah, it's just strictly for fans. And what's great too, is the fact that they were pulled from their timeline, right? It's one of those things, because they went through a black hole. The 1998 versions of them went through a black hole, ended up in 2022. So it's perfect for them to kind of be dumb about white privilege. And he's like, oh, really? White privilege? I didn't know I had that. And it's one of those dumb, things that it's just like, this only works because you're from 1998, buddies.
And then I'm thinking too, full spoilers for Beavis and Butthead. Do the universe. Go pause the episode, go check it out. Honestly,
go watch it. It's worth it. Trust me.
Go watch it. Pause the episode, come back. But the end of the movie, it's kind of like, oh, this is for the reboot. This is this is they got they're ready. We're gonna get the 90s versions of them reacting to our stuff.
If this was Judge's idea, great, brilliant, because it was just perfect. It was the only way these two characters can work in this day and age is to pull them from their timeline.
And from the 90s. Yep.
And they have their 98 mentality still intact, and it's just freaking perfect. And then in the movie, they realize what is it? They pretty much stole a phone, right, from a touristing family, and discovered Apple Pay or Google Pay, whatever the phone had. And it was brilliant, because these guys had no clue. Folks, please, if you're a fan,
go check it out.
If you at least laughed at an episode, I would be like, hey, listen, you should go check it out.
It's got me excited for the new ones, because it's imagine they're gonna watch a bunch of YouTube, they're gonna watch a bunch of there's so much that they can take in from our time now.
You're gonna put Rob Dyrdek to to pasture, pretty much. his
Yo,
job is going to be obsolete because of Beavis and Butthead now.
dude, you're so right, because those, you only need to animate the first time.
That's it.
All you do is the way they used to be, right? Where it's like the talking heads would be the same. Sometimes Beavis would like mosh. Sometimes they would like do stuff, but
Yes,
like
dude. Oh, I can't
it
wait.
was when they always cut back to Beavis and Butthead. It was the same animation, so it's just like,
dude.
you're
Yeah,
so
yeah,
right,
because
dude.
yeah, it's that couch animation, right? And that same
Yes,
still over and over again every time they used to watch like a music video. Like they had,
dude.
like as you said, they had their little adventure, then automatically transition back to that old ass still, right? From like
Yes,
the first episodes
from
where they're
the
just
yes
sitting
from
on the couch.
season
Yeah.
one. Yeah, yeah. So it's like, you're so right. They're just gonna make one of those, and there it's ridiculousness now.
Yeah.
You
Goodbye. Thank you, Beavis and Bud, for coming back. Like it'd be dope if they released that liquid television thing all over again. Honestly,
now's the time.
hey,
Now's the time to do it.
Paramount Plus, they should definitely dig that up.
I
Put that on
mean,
TV, right?
yeah, I would love to see that. I would love to see it.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of love to see it, folks. We finally got the new Thor.
Yes,
Well, first of all, we got a double feature for you folks. It's summertime, double feature. So first off, Thor: Love and Thunder.
yes.
Um, here we go, Tex. This is this one's been a little polarizing out there, but I for one am gonna go on record to say that I enjoyed the movie. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I might not watch it again, but I thoroughly enjoyed the viewing. How about you, Tex?
I 100% agree. In terms of our scale, pay for it, wait for it, or stay away from it, it's a wait for it. It's a watch this one on your couch when it comes on Disney Plus in like 2 months. This is the perfect, yeah, it's perfect. Do laundry and stuff while you're watching it, honestly, because like I completely agree with you. I enjoyed it. I don't
Yeah.
really want to see it again, but it's also at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I saw it. I don't mind that I saw it.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of negativity out there.
Yeah,
I don't know what people expected. Maybe their expectations were a little higher than
right.
anticipated, probably. I, for one, knew I was walking into a Taika Waititi movie, and
Yeah.
knew it was going to be on the lighter side of things. Did I, or would I have rather preferred something a little bit more serious? Yes, they had their opportunity in the movie. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Right.
But again, it's Taika Waititi, man. Like this guy's like he's not gonna give you like that Russo brothers kind of like drama you got with the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. 100% agree. Like in terms of like, he's done dramatic comedies before, which is why this is weird too, because he's done like Hunt for the Wilder People. That movie's incredible,
This is true.
and that's a drama with a little bit of comedy in it, then you have What We Do in the Shadows, which is like a super dry comedy, but at the same time, like, it's a story. It's not like yeah, there are jokes, but it's not like joke, 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 joke. And so like, before we even get into spoilers of this, I think that's what my thing was. I'm like, maybe if we could have turned down the jokes, like maybe like 25%, 30%, because not every scene had a joke in it. Like, even
Yeah.
so like
the movie was too lighthearted for his own good. Because
yes.
like the first and foremost, going into spoilers for the movie,
Yeah,
is
we're
like
spoiler alert for Thor: Love and Thunder from here on out.
Natalie Portman's character, Jane Foster,
Yes.
she is dying of cancer. Like she
Yes.
gets diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Like boom, like it's right there. It's serious off the bat.
Yeah.
And her thing is, she hears, the hammer calling her, and she had looked into Asgardian magic and stuff like that, and the hammer might have some healing properties to it and all that stuff. So
Right.
she becomes Thor, and pretty much just to kind of keep herself alive long enough to kind of see if she can find a cure for her cancer.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the thing with that. So I don't mind that storyline if you're actually gonna dig into it.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
exactly it. It's 100% agree. It yes.
Yeah. And to be honest, like it felt very pointless, unfortunately, especially when she just brought it up to Thor, right? Like that whole scene where he was like, you know what, like I kind of love you or whatever, blah blah blah, and Jane goes like, oh, I have cancer, you know,
and then she like tries to awkwardly walk away.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, sorry to hear that. When did you find out? And I'm like, that's it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's,
and I'm like, okay, like the minute that happened, I'm like, I got it. Okay, we're not really gonna get into it then.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get at here, where it's like you don't have to be like joke. You know, it's maybe joke, drama, and then joke. You know, so it's like
there was room there too, man. Like it was right there. Like on top of that, you had the actors who are able to pull this off. You know, you had
it's like
Natalie Portman who would be able to actually like transition into the actual, you know, drama of it all. She has worked with, you know, a Seth Rogen and company before, so she knows about the comedy of everything, you know. She is an Oscar winner, right? I'm pretty sure she won an Oscar for Black Swan, right?
Yeah, or nominated. I feel like she won though, and that's how good she was. And you're 100% correct there. It's like this movie's 2 hours, but this is one of those ones where like kind of like Doctor Strange also, where Doctor Strange is 2 hours, but I would have taken like 215, 220. I would have taken like maybe even 230. I would give this another like,
especially for the drama of it all, right?
Yeah, because it's like at the same time too, this movie starts out with a kid dying. Oh, so like it sets for Gore, Christian Bale. Oh man, I don't know how much we want to dig into him, like, but it's like he's very good in this. You know, even for like it's worth it just to kind of watch him.
Yes,
you know, so check it out when you want to. But point I'm saying is you get his origin right off the bat and you understand it immediately. It's, you know, it's very dramatic. A kid dies. And then you get like the Guardians of the Galaxy scene.
Yeah, like even then though, right? Like that was also an issue with this one in terms of the back and forth of of it all, right? Like, so as you just mentioned, right in the beginning, we get the whole reason Gore is Gore, right?
Yes.
We get his origin right off the bat, and then you just get this Guardians thing, which is super lighthearted, and it's just Thor
it makes for a weird tone, dude. It's like
that was one of the problems like a lot of people complained about. I do understand their gripe about it, because it does go in and out of these kind of emotions. Like at one point, like you have Jane doing some serious cancer stuff, and then you have just Thor being funny Thor, you know,
you have
a classic goats. Thor adventure, you know.
Yeah, you have screaming goats, and you have like, dude, that's god, I know. It's like how much do we want to detour all this stuff, right? Because it's like
you have certain things there that are just very like I don't know, man. It was just kind of thrown in there, like
it's very weird
just to throw it in there, especially with the goats.
Yeah,
and the fact that like they were actually used, which is wild. But like a lot of the movie itself is just another. It's not really 100% pieced together. Like you're jumping around so much from scene to scene and from person to person that nothing really ever feels established.
Yeah,
you know?
and none of the character arcs hit either, because like, you know, then you not only do you have Jane Foster coming back to it, and she has cancer, and then you have the Thor trying to find himself, you know, after losing so much in the last 10 years with Endgame. So it's like, and then you have a Valkyrie over here without a real plot. Like she doesn't have like a character arc. I think I'm trying to remember what she was doing. Like
she's trying to, you know, she was in charge of Asgard. She's the king.
Yeah,
So,
but like
but she
she
doesn't
didn't
want to
have
be king
anything.
anymore. She wants to fight. She misses fighting, and I guess
she
she's
she wants to
just.
she wants to die and like see all her Valkyries again. But at the same time, like that's not a
I guess that's just part of her contract, just to be in this movie. You know what I mean? There's
I
probably other stuff for her to do down the line, but she was like, yeah, I guess you got to be part of the whole Thor thing.
yeah, because
Um,
like and
but
then and then you
yeah,
have the love story in the middle, like the actual love part of the Love and Thunder, and
yeah, but then
like
like there's not much love there. You know, what I mean,
yeah,
it's not much of a love story. Like you kind of just get thrown back into those feelings right away. But it's like they did this little thing where they showed how they drifted apart, right?
yes, yes,
It does like it's like, hey, it seemed like you guys were it didn't end pretty well, right? It didn't end
yeah,
good. And yet you just kind of just want to jump. It was weird. They just wanted to jump right into their feelings again and do all this stuff. And like Thor just was looking for love, and just Jane was like, "Oh, maybe now because I'm dying, I guess I gotta get back together with Thor all of a sudden." And it's like
yeah.
it was very awkward. It wasn't very well done. Honestly, there's two things that saved this movie for me. And one of them was Zeus. Russell Crowe as Zeus was
100% agree.
absolutely excellent. And then we'll talk about Mr. Bale and Gore a little after the Zeus, but let's talk about Zeus. Like I think that whole God world was I think the most established part of the whole movie.
Which is wild, right? Because
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because like it was so weird when we get to the it's like Omnipotent City, I believe it's called. When we
Yes.
when we finally get there, I'm like, is this the end of the movie? Because it felt like the first big setting, but at the same time, so much has happened by that point. I was
Yeah.
like, this is it? Like I'm like, oh, so is Gore gonna come in and just like kill all these
And
gods or
I
whatever?
thought so too.
That I mean, that would have been a quicker movie, but we get like a whole other. Oh, so we're talking good stuff here. So
Yeah, yeah,
Zeus,
yeah, yeah. We're talking Zeus here.
Zeus himself, Zeus is great. Russell Crowe is like he gets one scene in the movie, but it's such like a good like I don't know how he does it, man. That's one of those good on you, Marvel, for finally snagging Russell Crowe, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what I want to say here. It's
he
just like good
understood
on
his
you.
part, and it's funny because I'm pretty sure, I'm not gonna say he didn't take it seriously. I'm pretty sure he took it seriously in his own way, but then he finds this angle with Zeus, especially with the accent that he gives him. It's very Greek accent. If you know Greek people, this was just hilarious. My father-in-law is Greek, and this is like, I know Greek people, and like this is pretty funny. He
That's
does a
funny.
very, very good accent, which kind of ties everything together. And his performance is also very like old school. I mentioned the text off air that it reminded me of a Mel Brooks kind of sequence, especially when he's like walking
Yes.
down the stairs holding his little
Yeah,
toga skirt,
when he
right?
did that little spot, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very nostalgic.
Yeah,
Like,
he
yeah,
he was very good. He was very good, and he understood the role. He understood exactly what was needed, in
yeah.
that movie. You
He knew
know?
that he knew the balance of tone, and I think that's why it's such like a distinct part of the movie too, because it's like the rest of the movie is so wild, and like you just said, it's so wild
Yes.
in terms
Yeah.
of its
Good.
balance.
Very good point.
But once we get to him talking, you're like, okay, here's the comedic stuff. Then
Yeah.
there's like the intensity. There's the oh, he's a villain. You're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
okay, yeah,
it works very well. I think, like I said, it's one of the better parts of the movie in terms of how everything's established.
yes,
Especially with the tone of Taika, like everything just kind of works, right?
yeah,
Like it-
yes,
everything works.
yes.
There's all the good stuff from Ragnarok in this little sequence, honestly.
Yeah, and it also adds to the Marvel universe. Now we have a God world. Now we have okay,
Yes,
so and
good
they
point.
establish it too. We have like the Earth gods, which is the stuff like Moon Knight, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And they probably count in all this stuff too. So it's like, oh, just like all the Moon Knight gods, we have now we know the level. It's basically the Thor level of gods, and we're like,
Yes.
okay, so we got a whole and we even got some Celestials in it.
Yep. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did. We did.
so
We
there you
definitely
go.
did.
There's the connection, everybody. That's the other thing too. Like, and he's the one big lead into like the sequel. The post credits is him being like because he was shot through the heart by Thor, and which is
Yeah, with
weird
the
because
Thunderbolt.
which is funny because when you think about it, Thor and Gore killed the same amount of gods on screen. They only killed one each, so it's like yeah. So I Gore like killed a bunch of gods, but like I wish we got another one.
Yeah,
At
it would have
least
been dope if we got a nice little montage, right?
yeah,
Of Gore going through the whole universe, just kind of like slitting throats,
yeah,
we don't get that. Again, it's that side of Taika Waititi that I think they wanted to just continue embracing. I don't know why they didn't ask him to go a little darker with it. They should have.
they should have.
Especially when it came to Gore. Like Bale does a very, very awesome job with the character. I had no idea what to expect with it, and he just completely blew it out of the park, dude. Like the guy brought this intensity to all his scenes that like the movie needed, and I wish they would have milked that emotion a little bit
Yeah,
after the scene is done. You know what I mean?
100% correct, because it's like because Russell Crowe, they got the most out of him, and they set him up for future movies,
They
with the
did.
post-credit
Yep.
scene and Hercules. So that's the guy from Ted Lasso. Apparently everybody likes
Okay.
him, so good. Ted Lasso
Good
is
for him, I
fine.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I saw him in the post credits. I'm like, cool. Who okay, yeah. And for nobody who knows, like for anybody else who knows Hercules, like it's gonna be like, well, who the hell is that? So
Yeah.
um, but no, but going back to Gore, like they gave Russell Crowe, like they got the most out of Russell Crowe, but with Bale, it's like you really could have had one like more thing, like one more Gore thing to give us, like because we get some really good stuff with him, but you're right. I wish they went more horror with it because there's so much of that that's like right there, right? That fantasy horror, that
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
Doctor Strange kind of like
Dude,
darkness and
it's
like
there. They did it with the Shadow Realm, right? Where they
yeah,
kind of animated a bunch of the sequences, which looked really cool. But every time Gore was on screen, it had that little like that whole Sin City effect, right? Where it was black and white.
yeah,
His eyes glowed because of the curse of the sword or whatever. And like it just looked really cool. And he knows how to do his job well enough where he understands how it's gonna look.
oh, dude,
It's like, yo,
you're 100% correct.
I'm gonna be
Yes,
black and white. This is the way this guy looks. Let me just emote in a way where it's just gonna show off the creepiness of Gore, because the movie
yes,
needed it. You know what I mean?
yes,
That's why it's so unfortunate that like it's funny because like when Thor was with Gore in certain scenes, like it was good. I'm like, okay, cool. We need more of this.
yeah. The
We need
Thor
more
and
of this
Gore
stuff.
stuff was great.
Um,
Yes,
but they always shied away from it. It was because they had that love thing going, they had the cancer thing going that they would like didn't want to dig into. So they shied away from everything instead of, focusing on like on one thing or digging into one thing. They were like they touched on this, it touched on that, but they never really wanted to, fully invest themselves in any one of those storylines. And it's unfortunate because they could have found a way to just tie them all together because of just how everything works in that world. You know what I mean? Um,
yes, yes.
and I said this before, it sucks because you have the actors to pull that off.
Yes,
You
100%
do.
correct.
Like Hemsworth is a good actor. Portman is a great actress. Like you have Bale stealing scenes over here. You know what I mean? Like you had the talent there. Um, it's unfortunate the trigger wasn't pulled. It's weird too because like it sucks that this is Thor 4, right?
Yeah,
And not like Thor 2. you
yeah,
know?
like
Um,
yeah,
yeah. So it sucks that this is like his probably his final solo movie, honestly, right?
yeah. I think that should be it. Like
Yeah,
there's
he's gonna keep showing up here and there, to do Thor things, but like in terms of solo movie, I think you know, I
they
think
can
we're good now.
they can mix it up with something else. They
Yeah.
like they almost did with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? So it's like I feel like the Guardians and Thor could have a full movie together and we'd be fine. Like
Yeah, because it'll work. You know what I mean? Just
yeah.
get James Gunn and do that movie. It'll work.
Yeah,
Um
because I'm kind of
I'm
that's
surprised we
this
didn't get more of that, man, in the movie though,
yeah,
right?
and that's why I'm like, oh, we could have done like 2.5 hours. I would have been fine. Like because that's the thing with these Marvel movies too. Like I think with phase four, I think what everybody should understand by now, and maybe that's part of the reaction too, because like I've also seen people going, "Oh, well, phase four is not setting up anything," but in the grand scheme of things,
It is though.
Avengers was 5 years,
Yeah.
Endgame was 10 years. We're only in like year one of phase
Yes.
four. Yeah, it seems like because it is a lot more content,
It,
but
it is though, but like it's to your point, these people got to chill. Like it's like you said,
yeah,
we got a decade's worth of movies. You know what I mean? Like we're getting
yes,
TV shows sprinkled in here. We're getting a movie here, a movie there. They don't
yes.
they don't want to blow their load too soon,
We're in the
folks.
comic books kind of
Yes,
side of it now.
they
We were
realize that
yes,
they lost a lot of content, with the end game, phases. You know what I mean?
yeah,
With the
it's
Infinity
yes,
War phases, like they can't use Thanos anymore. The Captain America's old. Tony's dead. You know what I mean? Vision is
yes,
done. They've done Ultron already. Unfortunately, um,
yes,
they did House of Emma Jace with a multiverse of madness, right? Where
yes.
Wanda finally kind of did
So
Wanda things.
and that's what you're like. I completely agree. This is all introductions. We have to
Yes,
because you're right, because they've done so many big arcs already.
yeah.
Now they need to set the next arcs.
They
Like
gotta set
we're
the
in issue
groundwork. Like,
we're in issue one, buddy. Like we're in issue
listen,
one.
what does the U mean in MCU? It means fucking
Yes,
universe. All right, you know what I mean? Like, a
yes,
universe is big, and they're building the layers, dude. They're building from street level, like Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop and
yes.
Yelena, to like Moon Knight status, and then you have Daredevil and Kingpin right there under Moon Knight, and then Moon Knight can swoop in with the blade and stuff like that, and then you get to the higher level stuff, which you need like Thor for and stuff, and like, dude, like, and then they're going to the cosmic stuff with the Guardians. Like, there's a lot. They're
Yeah.
building this whole universe, and they're realizing, hey, listen, we don't have our big guns anymore, right? So we have to make sure we establish these little guns that will eventually be the big guns, right?
Yes.
It's the only way, folks. We're just gonna have to be
Yeah.
patient.
Yeah,
That's
because
it.
we have to care about these characters.
Yes,
That's
thank
the thing
you.
people don't understand. Also, like I get it. I also like, of course, on the inside, I feel 100% agree. I'm like, I want these to connect.
Yes,
Of course, right?
yes.
We that was our big complaint with Eternals. We were like, well, where's at least give us a connection if you're not going to give us a good movie. So it's like,
Guys, let's go back to the Eternals episode, okay? Where
yeah,
we go on record, and feast on what the Eternals should have been and what they didn't do. And now we're getting stuff, folks. We're
yeah.
getting stuff bit by bit. It sucks. Listen, trust me, it sucks that the post credits aren't really, they're not
They
as
don't.
impactful,
Yeah, they don't
you know?
matter anymore.
You know,
They honestly don't. Like, there's no
I
like.
know, unfortunately.
It, once they put the Doctor Strange 2 trailer at the end of No Way Home, like that was it. These don't mean anything anymore. This is, where
Listen, like,
there's no like.
I will
It,
take trailers after movies now. You know what I mean? You don't have to
yeah,
give me
why
post
not?
credits. Just give me the trailer or the teaser trailer for your next movie coming out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
why not? We're already there, right? Like, this
We're already
is.
there. We could have used a little bit of Wakanda action, honestly, especially on the post credits, being that Wakanda's coming out in November still. We still haven't
Yeah,
sniffed the trailer yet for that
yeah.
thing.
A teaser would have been cool. I would have loved the teaser. I don't even remember the second post credits. I
Oh,
guess as we
oh,
wrap up this
it
review,
was
right? Like,
Jane Foster in Valhalla.
oh
She
yeah,
meets what's his face? Idris Elba's
yeah,
character.
Heimdall, and
Heimdall, sorry.
good for her because Valhalla is apparently a real place, like in the Marvel universe. So like, she's not out yet, So kudos, as long as she's around in a place that they can get her,
Yeah.
So cool, good.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess wrapping up on this, right, on my end, watch it at home. Yeah, there's funky CG. Even I've seen those comments too, but at the same time, a lot of them are right. Like there are some wonky looking things in here, but at the same time, there's a whole other thing I don't feel like getting into of like what COVID did and like all that pushback is like on these 2-3 studios, the same studios doing all the shit. So it's like they got to do this. They got to also do what we're going to talk about next. And it's like, and that's only like two of the franchises of like everything. I don't know. But to wrap my
Yeah.
part of it up, it's watch it at home.
Yeah, I mean it'll be at home in like what 45 days or something like that.
Yeah,
So
it
go
was
watch it at
fun.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And folks, for the next up on our double feature, another thing you can actually watch at home on Netflix, you can catch Stranger Things 4 Volume 2. It dropped a couple of weeks ago. 2 episodes, one of them 90 minutes, the other one about 2 hours and 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Right. Yes.
And I wasn't as totally kind of like blown away as I thought I was going to be honest with you, with the whole ending of everything. There are a lot of things that I, didn't like at all about the way things went down. It sucks. We've spoken about this before, Tex. It sucks that
Yes.
there's a season 5, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna drag this out for another 2 years. Like, you're gonna make us wait 2 years to like drag out this like hellhole that's Hawkins now, right?
Right.
Come on, Shelly.
Yeah, because like
Come on.
I 100% agree. Unfortunately, like go back and check out our original review for Stranger Things, Volume 4, the Part 1. Going back to it, like thinking back about the whole package now that we've gotten it, I can imagine a much tighter season 4 and then like a finale movie, like the Vecna final battle, like like basically how we got here.
Yeah.
I would imagine like straight up this could have been like the season 5 finale. Like this could have been it. Get everything in there. I can imagine a much better organized season in general leading to like season 5. Because watching part 2, man, those didn't like they didn't feel like nothing about it felt like it needed to be that long. Either one. Nothing about it felt like it needed to be 2 parts that way either. Like
Agreed.
maybe off earlier or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah. These 2 episodes could have been like maybe 3 or 4 like 45-minute, 50-minute episodes.
100% agree.
Like I said, there was no reason for it to be so massive in scale. Like you could have chopped it up. Like even the editing of the actual like episode shows that they could stop it right after they stole the RV from those people, right? That's one episode, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
you could stop it like at the end of the original end of episode 8, where we have Separate Ways from Journey playing, right?
Dude,
that's the end of another episode.
Yeah, best scene in the whole season. I think like in terms of my favorite things, it goes back to that Separate Ways remix, dude.
I was super hype after at the end of that episode, but then I got to the finale episode and I'm like, oh man, I want more of that freaking Separate Ways going, dude.
Yeah, imagine that as like the season finale. Like imagine the season finale ended like that with like a longer version of that, or actually,
I would have been fine with
it. Exactly how it is. If that would have been the season finale, that would have been perfect.
But they didn't, Tex. They continued it.
And that's not even the song of the season, dude. I'm a little pissed about that too.
It's very annoying that it turned out this way, because from what I remember, when the trailer first dropped, right? I'm pretty sure Separate Ways was the one on the trailer, not Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill.
Dude, it's like this sick remix too that they put their synth stuff into, and it's like
they worked with Steve Perry on that to get it nice and tight and it works and it's fucking properly. It was awesome.
God, like, and it sucks too. Like, full spoilers. If you haven't seen it by now, please see Stranger Things season 4. But like, when they do the Vecna battle, it's running up that hill instead, and it's like, I'm like, when did that become the song of the season? Like,
I mean, I get that that's Max's thing, right? But like, once 11 got into the into the fight, you should have gone back to Separate Ways, man.
Yeah, because
like
they were
because
all fighting on like different planes. You know, they were all like dying in like the fucking. Remember, it was like three different things at one time. That there were.
separate ways worked in so many ways.
Yeah.
But like because it had that like it had that 80s pump, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
you just wanted to
Yes.
go, dude. And they do a great job at the end of episode 8 of hyping us up to what we get in episode 9, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes of, you know, it could have not it shouldn't have to be that long. It
Dude,
wasn't like it wasn't paced like a movie
it
either.
wasn't paced like a movie because it ends. There's a point where 11 loses to Vecna, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this. And then I literally looked at how much time I have left. I was like, oh, are we almost done? And I'm like, this is an hour.
I know. This is like, oh my god, there's another hour left, man.
Yeah, I was like, this was only the first hour. That's a whole episode. And then it just kept going.
And and then it just keeps going after that.
And then there's an epilogue.
There's things done here. For instance, certain emotional moments in
Yes.
the show that I think could have used better, like just better establishment in the show. Like, for once, if you fast forward all the way to the end, the reunion of Hopper and 11, that alone, like it felt empty. Like there was
Right.
no emotion behind that. Like you didn't get the fact that, hey, listen, I've been missing you. I thought you were dead and blah blah
Right.
blah. You don't get that. You don't get that emotion when Eddie Munson, bites the dust, right?
Yeah, like
Like
so
it was just kind of like, oh, Eddie's dead, and then just Dustin knows. But then like who
none of the
else?
other characters reacted to it,
None of the other characters, like, hey, you met this dude. He kind of like, he fought with you guys.
yeah,
And
like,
nothing, dude.
and
Nothing.
that's the thing too. Going back in the other previous seasons, there's always a new character that shows up only to die.
Yep.
So it's like, remember Sean Astin in like
Yes,
season
Bob.
2. Yes, Bob in season 2.
Bob.
And you had what was his name, like Alexi in season
The
3.
scientist, yes.
Yes, yeah. So it's like
he was a good character too.
there's only like they're only introduced here, so we fall in love with them. We're like, oh, they're so dope, and then they kill them off in the finale, and you're like, oh no,
And then they
But
kill him off, dude.
it sucks because he could have been like a season 5 character.
But you know what? Like, I get it. I understand it. But like, this is part of their writing, because technically season 5 is gonna be a continuation of what's going on in part 4. So
yeah, you're right.
It's not like it's a whole new thing. We're still gonna be dealing with Vecna.
You're right. This is part 2, basically.
Yeah, this is like volume 3, pretty much, of Stranger Things 4. We're gonna get volumes 3 and 4, right?
Yes.
Because we don't get a new baddie. We find out that Vecna has been all the baddies, right?
Yes.
We find out that Vecna was the one that was able to control the Mind Flare, and he gave it its shape by thinking it as like a Black Widow spider, right?
Yeah.
So we finally get it, but then now we're like, now we gotta wait 2 years for season 5 to continue this fight that we, as you mentioned off air text, and I thought it was a very good point, that like, hey, you kind of made Vecna kind of vulnerable. Like, you beat him. You beat him in his own place.
Yes.
So what next? What are you gonna do now? You know what I mean?
100% agree. Like we talked about in our previous review for it, that we, I believe we were like, oh, well, Vecna hasn't done enough to like really be like, oh, he's a threat, but it's also like, but now that he's doing things, it's like, well, I kind of wish it was. I kind of wish it was back to being like mysterious and like godly. Yeah, because like he was godly. He was like untouchable.
That's the problem with having him continue in season 5. Like, if you were gonna go with a season 5, kill this dude off, show everyone that, oh, Vecna wasn't the main guy. He was just like a puppet. This is why he had his tentacles into things, right?
Yeah, or maybe he like evolves. Maybe it's like a like an RPG boss. You kill the first one, and he turns into like his.
I know there's another life bar right under it, right?
Yes.
So like, but they kind of showed him kind of cowering with his tail between his legs. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he was on fire, but then like he was just gone. It was
Yeah,
like a scene from Michael Myers. It was like, oh, where did he go? We just shot him. I just shot him 6 times. I shot him 6 times.
You're 100% right. Oh my God.
And
Good
he's
catch
gone.
on that. Good catch. That's 80s horror. Okay.
So
good catch.
so now he's gone. And now it's like, okay, cool. But you better make this 2-year wait worth it. I'm telling you.
It better count. Yeah.
It better be good. You know what I mean? It better not be long. I'm hoping they find a good structure where it'll give us like what's it called? I keep forgetting. Oh, Fear Street, right?
Yes.
Where it gives us like 3 90-minute movies, 3 solid 90-minute movies.
God, what a month! Like, and that was during the pandemic too, so that saved us. Go back
Netflix looking out for the culture.
Yes, go back and listen to those episodes. We were so happy to have like.
Yes, I love it.
We were so happy to have something that like not only talk about but like actually enjoy. You know, and we were like, oh, can't wait to see what's next week. Oh man, I can't wait to see how it ends. And then it was like, oh, part 3 was really part 3 and 4, and like imagine Stranger Things did that for like season 4 and 5. Like imagine like if season 5 does that, all the credit to it. Like I'll give it 100% credit.
Listen, I know the Duffer Brothers were just given a longer leash by Netflix, right?
Yeah, they got a whole production studio now. Yeah,
let's hope that it's worth it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
Let's hope it's worth it. Let's hope that they finally have a solid conclusion. That'll wrap everything up with these characters, like these adults now, pretty much. You know what I mean? Especially with a 2-year wait in between the seasons,
and
it's definitely going to be adults now, right,
dude? And it sucks because there's no time skip. I think it's just going to jump us right back into like, because how do you time skip?
Wait, what?
That? I don't think so, because how you have to continue season 5 right from there. That was like,
shit, dude.
The Earth is opening up, so it's like you can't really time skip and be like, oh, it's been years and the Upside Down has done nothing, dude. There's no way.
The only way I can see that it's gonna be tough because they're gonna be grown. They're gonna be grown people.
That's what I'm saying. Straight Vecna is invading. Like this is it already. They can't be like, oh, Vecna waited 2 years to invade. Oh, in 2 years the Earth has become the Upside Down, and Vecna needed to wait for the Earth to become the Upside Down. No,
it's like Vecna needed to wait for a new season to get greenlit.
Exactly. Like, no, they can't do that. Like Vecna has to invade.
Wow, dude, good point.
This is it. You have to continue right from there, or so. Okay, here's also an option, Arturo. Continue from there, then time skip. They lost.
Okay.
Now they're like it's been a year or 2 years, whatever. They're living in the Upside Down.
Pull a dollhouse, right?
Yes, like it's like
for those who know what I'm talking about. The dollhouse just happened there. Where Fox was like, no, you know what? We just canceled this shit, and now we got to come back with a quick explanation.
Yes.
That would be the only way it would work. If like, oh, if Terminator 2 happened and Skynet, worked.
Yes.
That's
exactly
work our way to the Resistance kind of thing.
Do that 80s movie. Do the 80s Resistance movie next.
Damn, you know what, Tex? That's a very good point.
I think that's the only way to do it.
The way the season ended.
Yes.
Like the portals pretty much was just open. Like now,
dude. It's done. The Earth is open. Yeah, like that. It was so dope seeing that kid get cut in half, though, dude. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal
Jason
shit.
got it. Yeah, he deserved it 100%. It was the wrong time to prove yourself a hero, buddy.
Yeah,
and big time,
dude. Isn't it so like? Honestly, to me, that was like the most horror part of the actual like what was going on, because it got too real. It got a little too real.
That was
there.
A good fight, man. That was a real good fight there. Like
good fight, good standoff, good.
You felt like the physicality of that fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You felt the weight of that fight and what it meant to the characters. So good job on both on Lucas, and on Jason. Like, on both those actors for like pulling it off and realizing the severity of the scene itself.
Dude, the whole season, like Caleb McLaughlin just shined, dude. He was like, because they gave Lucas something to do this time.
Yeah,
like Lucas and Max was like the main story, pretty much, right? Like this was about them.
He got more shine as the season went along.
Yeah,
because at first he was kind of like put in the back end, you know what I mean, while everything was going on. But I'm glad that like once everything got going, he got a good chunk of it. And he deserved it. He listen, that last scene.
It's been 4 seasons, dude. It's about time, right?
Dude,
like
that last scene when Max just kind of just drops, and the kid's like holding, this girl that he loves in his arms.
Yeah, she's all twisted.
Like, dude, she's all kind of dented, pretty much. Like pretty much. I think a Duffer Brothers in an article or something. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. Somebody said that Max was confirmed brain dead, right? Which makes sense because Elle goes in, inside her head and finds nobody there. So again, like. So I can say you gotta kill Max off, So now you have Max brain dead in the hospital.
Unless it's something unless it's something like she can go to the upside down or in the 11 space and like help 11.
Listen, she's around for a reason still, right?
Yeah,
she's around for a reason because you broke her arms and her legs and you kind of blinded her pretty much,
right?
So she's done as like a a human being pretty much. So you better have her doing something in season 5 because you should have just killed her off. But that being said, that scene where Max just falls and Lucas has her,
dude, and it's and that's also fucked up. Like let's not get that twisted. Also, I give that a lot of credit for just being a fucked up idea of bringing this dead girl back to life because just forcing her with 11. Like 11 forced her with her powers. To basically Frankenstein her brain and fucking keep her body alive.
Dude,
so it's that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking she's gonna be in like the 11 space. And
that's a good point, man.
And they're gonna be able to like do stuff together. I feel like it's the only way to make it make sense because it's a fucked up idea. So I give it a lot of credit. And that's the unfortunate thing too. For as much credit as we give it, there's all those other problems we just talked about. There's like the length of it, some of the plots, some of like the but
like the whole Russia thing. That was very elongated.
Completely unnecessary.
Also, like I still don't get how they helped. Right?
Yeah, because it was so random too. They're like, oh, maybe
they were talking about
need to help.
Particles and stuff, and I'm like, you lost me. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What particles, dude? And then they're like, oh, we'll give the kids enough time to keep fighting. I'm like, what are you talking about?
How do you even know what's going on?
How do you know the kids are fighting? Just because I guess, like, Russia was just confusing.
All that time, you're 100% right. In all that time, you couldn't have Vecna communicate with them like psychically or whatever. Like,
be like, "Hey, I'm attacking these kids in Hawkins, just so you know, right?"
Yeah, or it's like make the excuse of like, oh, connecting with her connects her to like every other mind she's ever connected with, or something like that. Like do explain it like that. Do upside down spider
just
power
something.
Shit. Who cares?
Just something. Because too, like what, like going back to this, like Hopper and everything, like is he gonna know what 11 just went through? It's like, hey, I just got kidnapped again and got tested all over again. My head got shaved. You're not wondering why my head shaved? You left me with hair. Come on, man.
And she'll never like comprehend what he's been through. So it's like,
man. Like there's gonna have to be a scene, a very like it's gonna be a fluff episode, you can call it, but there's gonna have to be an episode where they just sit down and just like, hey, this is what I've been through without you.
It's gonna be the one before the finale. It's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be all the character scenes are gonna happen right before the finale or in the finale. Like
I know, because it's gonna be one of those like episode 4 Max things where you see all the happy memories and running
Yeah.
up that hill playing and stuff like that. The only way to like get out alive.
Yeah.
But that goes back to the Vecna of it all, right? Like, what are they gonna do to make this guy more badass than he was in this season? Like you said, you're not as badass at the end of it all, right? Because now they kind of beat you at your own game. So what else you got?
Yeah.
And right now he's got Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
So
and I give it a lot of credit for that, and I give it a lot of credit for the Eddie stuff, because even though I'm like upset he died in this season, when you think about it, he had a full character arc, so it's like at least he wasn't there longer than he needed to be.
yeah,
But at the same time, I wish he were. I'm like,
yeah, we went full cycle with Eddie, man. We got his introduction, we got his little scene with the D&D and the boys, right? And then we got the whole the downward spiral of Eddie Munson up until his rejuvenation with the kids, right?
Not only did he see Chrissy die, we also got got to see
you, Chrissy.
Yeah, we also got their connection before. Like there was time for that. Like they made time to let us really get to know this guy, and like by the time he's like doing stuff and like his big rocking out moment, like
yeah, dude,
that became such a hit. 100% honesty did not click for me, like in terms of like
I have to go on record too. I was pretty adamant on the socials as well when it all came out that I didn't like how they chopped up a Master of Puppets. I didn't feel it synced well with the scene. And that was excuse me, that was all broken down as the days kind of went on, and we discovered a little bit more of like the whole process and how everything went down. So I, for one, I still don't like how it's chopped up. I don't like that it's a cover of Master of Puppets in the scene.
Right.
This is why they edited it the way it did, because it's an actual different playing of the actual song. This is why it didn't click with me. And I feel that they could have done a better job making everything synchronous with the music, like they do a good job, with running up that hill and with separate ways and stuff like that. I wish they would have done a tighter job. Like it works with like the Billy stuff that's sprinkled in through there, but when Vecna's walking around the house and stuff like that, it doesn't really fit 100%.
Right.
But yeah, like dude, that Billy scene, I'm glad they brought him back just for that, bro.
Shout out to him, dude. Dacre Montgomery again, dude. Like I hope he like someone like something big's got to pick him up, because he was almost like a Power Ranger.
I know
that franchise didn't work out, so like someone's gonna get him. And like
yeah, dude, I hope so. He's freaking super talented, and he definitely helps that scene succeed, because it was, like I said, it was falling flat for me. You had this guy playing his rendition of Master of Puppets on top of a trailer as the bats are coming, but then like I felt like they could have done a better job. This is why it didn't click with me at first. I happen to like it more now after finding out it's the details about it. The fact that Metallica were involved in the whole process itself. The fact that the actor who plays Eddie Munson was playing the majority of that guitar track. They also got Robert Trujillo's son. If you don't know Robert Trujillo, he's the bassist of Metallica. His son added some lead guitar tracks as well. So the lead solo you hear, that's freaking Ty Trujillo, man.
Yeah, isn't that like
that's awesome, dude.
It's I 100% agree. It's that we both give it the 100% credit it deserves, and like I 100% appreciate and understand how people are digging it, and like if it's making people listen to Metallica, cool, man. Like
more for it for sure.
Hell yeah, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Same thing with Kate Bush. It was the same thing with that song. A lot of
just throw money at Metallica, like throw money at Kate Bush. Throw money at Journey. People are gonna go back to a separate way.
It's to me like 100% credit. The scene itself, like I said, I 100% agree with you. It doesn't work in terms of like how it all meshes together.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the spirit of it and like all that, I give it 100% credit.
It works. It works. Like the grassroots of it all. After you find out how everything was actually done organically,
yes,
it means a little more afterwards, honestly. But dude, it was a great scene, especially for Eddie Munson, who should have been a little bit more glorified as after his death.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know,
That scene we get of his dad, it is good.
his uncle.
Or his uncle, yes.
Yeah.
See, but that's the other thing. Like, that's all we get.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm already forgetting the details.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
all we get, man. When Dustin goes like, listen, like he saved me and stuff like that. That was good. But I wish the whole town had heard that. Yeah, his name was still soiled at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
That being said, folks, go watch Stranger Things for Volume 1 and Volume 2. Take it all in stride. It's a long season. There's no need to absorb it all that quickly. If you haven't seen it by now, just take it all in stride. Right, Tex?
Yes, 100% agree.
Yeah, so go check that out on Netflix, folks. Go check out Thor when it comes out on Disney Plus. Like we said, grab some popcorn, chill out, enjoy Ragnarok before it if you want,
Yeah.
just to get in the mood. But yeah, that'll be popping up in Disney Plus. And folks, thank you so much for listening. This has been The Morgue, episode 116. We have 115 of these for you guys in the archive. Go check those out. Go subscribe to anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon. We're there. We're pretty much everywhere. Go check us out, folks. Go check us out on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Thank you so much to Glenn Murawski for the music. Thank you so much for Delvirus for the artwork. Thank you so much to you guys for listening. And
watching.
Folks, and watching. Yes. You are watching. So thank you so much for watching too. And remember, folks, it's a scary world out there, but we're here to walk you through it.